Alrighty, everybody, it is currently Sunday, January 26th, and I'm coming at you with another episode. I just wanted to start this episode off. So I was like, you got to do vocal warm-ups. Even if no one's listening to the pod, you got to do vocal warm-ups, you know what I mean? It is funny. It is funny to do vocal warm-ups for a podcast that just goes onto a hard drive at Spotify just for no one to ever listen to. Just like an Indian guy reviews it to make sure like I'm not a Nazi, and I don't know how I'm getting through that filter, and then just no one ever listens to it. But you do got to do the vocal warm-ups because it is, I only woke up an hour ago. It's like, what? It's almost 9. I woke up at like 8-ish. And so, dude, if you come on here, no vocal warm-ups, you're sounding like RFK. You're like, and this is the Empire State Building. And so, like, I just, like, kind of talk and do whatever. And for some reason, I started singing that song, You'll Never Find by Lou Rawls. If you've seen Ice Age, Dawn of the Dinosaurs, it's the song he sees when it's a song that plays when he sees that hot squirrel for the first time, like the hot chick squirrel. It's the You'll Never Find As Long As You Live. And like as I was singing it, dude, I was like, dude, that's a song that can only be sung by a black dude. I guarantee you there's no covers of white dudes singing that song. If a white dude, because as I was singing it, I was like, dude, that sounds like a serial killer, dude. Like a white dude singing that song sounds like Jeffrey Dahmer, but when a black dude does it, I don't know. It's just different. God damn it. God damn it. All right, every fucking episode I start off just coming at the gate hot, dude. But luckily the Indians are just as racist as us, so this one's going to get right through the filter, as long as I don't say anything about the Jews. Which, I mean, if you know anything about chess, and the best chess players of all time, you know that's coming. And the reason I decided to do chess is because I've been playing a lot of Fortnite chess, and to be honest, I do have to come clean. I have been cheating on Fortnite chess, dude. I downloaded the chess app, and whatever color my opponent is, I choose that color, and then I do whatever moves they do, and I play against like the highest level bot, and I just do what the highest level bot does. And I have been talking a lot of shit on Fortnite chess, dude, because originally I was just balling out of my mind, and I was like, and this dude I was playing against, he knew like some kind of like cheat or like hack, or he had like some sort of access to like the admin, god damn it, like the administrator thing. And so he could just like instantly like surround my king with like queens and instantly win and shit. And so I normally don't talk shit, but it just enraged me so much because I was in like check, and this dude just cheated, and I was like, you pussy, you bitch ass motherfucker, I just put belt to ass, I just whipped you like your daddy, I just fucked you up, and now you're acting like a bitch. And I was just so fucking mad for some reason. And then like the morning after, I don't know, it's like I was drunk or something. Like the morning after I woke up, like my head was pounding, and I was like, what did I do, dude? That was like an 8-year-old kid, and I was like, I fucking beat you like your dad, bitch. So to anyone that says the days of those old Call of Duty lobbies are gone, you don't know me. You haven't seen me in Fortnite chess. You haven't seen the demon come out, dude. You haven't seen the pure hatred that enters my eyes, dude. Like we were talking about with the Yugoslav wars last week, just the pure fucking like fuck you anger comes out in me. When I play chess, dude, in the history of chess, it is a militaristic game, so that does make sense. All right, so the history of chess originates from the Indian game Chaturanga, and that's one of those words too that I was thinking about when I was talking about it in like the tobacco episode, where if like you don't know where a word comes from, just start like busting out the accents, you know what I mean? And that's definitely an Indian one. It's either Indian or like white trash, like Chaturanga. I could imagine like a southern, like a dude from like the Appalachian Mountains of Georgia saying that. Could also imagine an Indian saying that. Goes well with either, but I think you ultimately have to go with Indian on that one. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a 50-50 almost, but then you think about the nature of the word, and you're like, that's Indian for sure, dude. There's no way. It could be a river in the Appalachian Mountains, but it's definitely Indian. So, Chaturanga. Yeah, it's definitely Indian. But Chaturanga, like I was saying, it's militaristic. It translates to 4 divisions, but it's like, I don't know how languages work, but I guess it's like a militaristic word. So it's 4 divisions of the military. And so the four divisions, they're sick as hell, dude. So we got the infantry, the cavalry, the elephantry, and the chariotry. And it's like, dude, Indians are always going fucking hog wild with that shit. They're always just giving shit the sickest name possible. You know what I mean? Like if you go on Indian TikTok, it's not this pussy shit. Like if you go on TikTok, you see what like the American whites are doing. They're like planning like a revolution or something. Like I saw this video on TikTok of like this, I guess like Antifa, like one of those like left wing like protest groups, and he's like, I'm making my battle vest, and they always like do that where it's like I'm making my battle vest, or like this is how you make a mask, and they play the poem Boots by, I think it's Rudyard Kipling who made it, and it's like, I think it's Rudyard Kipling. It's like one of those old British poets, and it's like, dude, this dude fought in like the Boer Wars. You know what I mean? This dude was like fighting for his life, fighting for the life of his people, dude. You have like no idea. This dude has seen the life drain from his best friend's eyes. Like, what are you talking about? It's like you're scared your taco truck's gonna go missing, dude. This guy's whole fucking family was almost destroyed. It is very funny, and that's not like an original take. But yeah, they're just going hog wild on TikTok, dude, planning their revolution. And they're like, it's like the real life Hunger Games. And it's like, dude, how do you not realize how corny this is? You know, like, I remember when I read the Hunger Games in like third grade, I was like, dude, it would be so sick if we did that. And then I was like, wait, dude, you know what I mean? There's no way I could last in war. I'm over here fucking raging about games of Fortnite chess, dude. There's no way I could last a second in war. If I saw a dude like bleeding, I'd like have a schizophrenic breakdown. I just like lay down, clutching my rifle, just. I'd start making the grape lady noise. You know what I mean? If I was ever in war, but chess, I think chess is like the highest level of military I can handle. But modern chess, like took those pieces and like renamed them to the pawn, the knight, the bishop, and the rook. And I think the biggest downgrade we have here is going from the elephantry to the bishop, dude. Because it's like, dude, I've never heard a story about an elephant molesting a kid. They've stomped a few people to death who probably deserved it, dude. Elephants are like smart as hell. They eat peanuts. They're scared of mice. I mean, they're meat, dude. The elephants are just, they love peanuts. Who else loves peanuts? Fucking dudes with Down syndrome. Who else is scared of little things? Who else is always freaking out about that shit? Who else is stomping things to death? Dude, they're always stomping on some shit. So there's that similarity there. But bishops are way gayer than elephants. Elephants are sick. So anyway, Chaturanga also had the Raja or king that plays like the same role in both games. When I was reading about it, it said they didn't know like how like the different pieces moved. I think, or they knew almost all of them besides, I think, the elephantry, but I have to imagine it's the same as the bishop. But the Persians adopted chess, and so did the Arab colonizers. And so, like, Persia's like Iran, like that type of area. And India used to kind of like have Pakistan too, so they were like right next to each other, basically. I don't know what the fuck Afghanistan was doing. They were just like, dude, just leave those guys alone. Those guys have been going hog wild since the beginning of time. So they were probably leaving those guys alone. But like it like went over to the Persia, where it was like adopted by like kings and stuff to like train their kids in military tactics. I don't fucking know. And then the Arabs were like, yeah, this shit's sick. And so chess was spread to Europe by the same like Arab colonizers or like Muslim colonizers, not necessarily Arab. And so Spain and Italy were like the two like areas that were like the most conquered by the Arab colonizers, and so that is where the rules in like the official like peace movements of modern chess were finalized. And this happened in, I think it's in the 15th century. And even though these rules existed in the 15th century and shit like that, it didn't become standardized until the end of the 19th century. What the fuck? Yeah, and I was like thinking about this. So like every country had like their own rules of chess, and that shit was like decided by like kings and shit like that, or like people that were like fucking with the nobility. And so I can imagine like the retarded kings of like fucking Russia or like, I don't know, Greece or whatever being like changing the rules and shit, being like, oh, I'm gonna lose. No, I'm not, because this piece can do this now. Just being like, oh, it can't do that. I bet you it can. It's Oh, I'm not allowed to skip over the entire board and just take your queen. I got a rope right here. I got a dude with a hood and a fucking huge ass axe that says I can. Uh, and so I thought that that was funny that they were just making up rules just so they could win. And so the late 19th century is also when strategy, like chess strategy, began as like a science or whatever, where it's like if this, then that type of thing. And it's like, dude, that's so good. Because the original chess with like the Indians, they were playing like how I play. They were just like, fuck it, get everything out of the way, no pawns, pawns are born, get me the queen, and we're fucking going at it. I don't think they had the queen in Indian chess, but I guess the elephantry, they were just like, dude, I'm charging at you with my elephants. Fuck, get the infantry out of the way. Um, and so how the board is set up and how the pieces move. And this is kind of like shit that most people know, but I don't know. I have to assume that anyone that's listened this far into the episode is as retarded as I am and like probably doesn't know or care, which I don't blame you. But anyway, so the board is like an 8x8 grid and it's 64 squares in total. And on either side of the board, there's 2 rows of pieces. And so the front row, which is like the row closest to like the middle empty part, is all pawns. And then the second row, which is closest to either you or your opponent, it's also called the back row. So there's the front row and the back row. And the second row consists of, from left to right, you have a rook, a knight, a bishop, a queen, a king, a bishop, a knight, and a rook. So it's basically, it goes rook, knight, bishop, and then either queen or king on either side. And so one side has white pieces and the other has black, and white goes first. And it's like, obviously, dude, obviously white's got to go first. And I was thinking about how, like, the rules were made in, like, Spain and Italy after the Arab conquest and shit. But it wasn't just Arabs. It was, like, a Muslim conquest as a whole. And I was thinking, dude, they were just so pissed that they, like, got colonized by black people. It was like an incel. They had, like, incel fucking, like, 4chan Reddit rage. And they're like, the white people go first because we're, like, better. I was thinking that was definitely a Spurgat, dude. That the white pieces move first. All right. And so how the pieces move. So the pawns can move up to 2 squares forward on their first move, but they don't have to move 2 squares forward on their first move. They can move just 1 forward. But most people, like with their very first opening move, they move it 2 forward for some reason. I don't know. I think it like, actually we'll get to that in a second, why they move it 2 forward. So after its first time being moved, the pawn can only move 1 square forward. So it's like, but it's not like for all the pawns. So it's like if you move 1 pawn 2 square forward, then it can only move 1 square forwards after that. But like your first move for another pawn can also be 2 squares. And so pawns can only move diagonally if they're taking like an opponent's piece. So if the opponent is like 1 square diagonal to you, you can use your pawn to take that piece. And rooks. So rooks are like the castle-looking ones. Rooks can move as far as they want as long as they're going right or left or forwards or backwards. So they can only move in a straight line, but they can move as far as they want. And so rooks and the rest of the pieces can only take opposing pieces how they move normally. So it's not like a pawn. So if you have a rook that's like, there's a knight diagonally, the rook can't take that. It's not like a pawn. And okay, so knights, this one's going to be a little hard for me to explain. I do have an example. So knights can move in like an L shape. And so they can move 2 squares forward or back, and then 1 square right or left in any direction. And so an example of this is 2 squares forward and then 1 to the right. And it can move like over pieces to do that and stuff like that. And that's like another common opening where you like take the knight and you move it to like the pawn that's in front of the bishop. And that's an example of 2 squares to the right and then 1 square forward. Yeah, so it's the only one that can do that, where it like jumps over pieces. And I think it said in like I think it was a Russian type, the queen could also do that, but it can't do that in modern chess. God damn it, dude, my RFK voice came out there for a second. I should have sang more Lou Rawls songs. And then bishops can move as far as they want as long as it's diagonal. So it's like the rook, but it can only move diagonal. And then kings can move one square in any direction, and then queens have the power of the king, the rook, and the bishop. So they can move one square in any direction, or they can move forward as far as they want, or diagonal as long as they want. So it's like the most powerful piece in the game, like by far. And that's an objective fact. And I was thinking, dude, there was definitely like some simp dude who was making that. You know what I mean? Like some low level like nobility type of guy who was like trying to fuck the queen, and he was like, look how powerful I made her. Isn't that crazy? Women are like so powerful and stuff, right? And just this inbred like syphilis ridden queen was like like she doesn't fucking know. She can't comprehend chess. She's me, dude. All right, so now we're gonna get into a little bit of strategy of chess, which I don't. It's easy to talk about strategy, dude, but it's fucking impossible to do. I was like trying to set it up, and I was like, how the fuck did they do this? Because they'll move like one piece, like one square diagonally. They'll like do like the bishop like that or whatever, and you're like, what the fuck are they doing? They're doing strategy. And so controlling space is like the most important thing. And the reason for that is like the more space you have, the more options you have. And so an important thing to remember when you're like controlling space in a chess game is to make sure that they can't get past your front like defensive line, because if they get behind the enemy lines, dude, you're kind of fucked. You know what I mean? They go Rambo. And it's like that's kind of my strategy. Where I go like retarded Rambo, which like that's kind of implied because Rambo is played by Sylvester Stallone. You know what I mean? Like, oh, play chess now. I'm gonna move quickly. I'm gonna go good. But modern players, they were talking about this. They often take less space in like the beginning of the game in order to like set up a trap to take the middle of the board. And I don't know how the fuck they do that. I mean, I know how they do it. They play against people like me who are retarded, and they're like, dude, they're leaving the space wide open. I'm gonna go in there. Fuck it. We're moving the front line forward. But the easiest way to gain space is to move your pawns forward in like kind of like a diagonal line. But you don't want to do. I learned this the hard way. You don't want to do this with like the whole line of the pawns. You kind of want to get like 3 on one side and like move them forward like slowly in a diagonal pattern. You know what I mean? So it's like you move the one in front of the bishop one forward, and then you move the one in front of the knight one forward, and then you move the one in front of the rook one forward, type of thing. And then you just like kind of slowly do that to set up a diagonal line, like kind of in like the middle-ish of the board. And so that's like the easiest way to gain space, but there's like other ways to do it. So controlling space, like I said, also means not letting enemies behind your front line, because yeah, they might Rambo the fuck out. They can go out, and I've had this happen to me tons of times where it's like a rook or a bishop gets behind those lines and just starts fucking, you know what I mean, like Rambo dual wielding machine guns, just fucking everything up, and you're just like, no, and there's no way to counter it. So there's like another strategy I kind of realized where you can like kind of let them do that, where it's like they take like a pawn or something with a rook, but like you set up a knight to come and fuck that shit up. And that's another strategy where you take the knight. So like I said, the knight can like jump over other pieces and shit. And so you can like set up like a sentry, or I don't know what they called it, like a tower in the middle of your opponent's space by using a knight, just to like kind of sit there and do nothing. But like it makes them not able to move certain pieces certain places, because then the knight will come and get them. But they can't get the knight because the knight is like surrounded by their own pieces. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. So another strategy is to try to control the center 4 squares. And so you kind of combine this with the other strategy of like controlling as much space as possible. And so the center 4 squares are considered controlled if a player has pieces that can take enemy pieces there. In the middle 4 squares. So you can control the center using long-range pieces like rooks, bishops, and queens. A lot of people, though, like I was saying with like the opening move, where they move it 2 forwards, they move the pawn 2 forward, like the king or the queen pawn 2 forward. That's also another strategy to control the center of the board. And so one other important aspect of chess is holding initiative. And if you've ever played chess, you know this. Even if you don't know the word initiative, you know what they're talking about. So holding initiative is making threats that can't be ignored. And it's like I was just like, you could do it in chess, but when I do it, it's a problem. You know what I mean? When I when I threaten my professor with a metal pipe for not giving me an A on a paper, it's a problem. But when I do it in chess, it's fine. And I don't know. That was kind of a retarded thought I had. Um, but so holding initiative forces your opponent to make defensive moves, and if your opponent is focused on defensive tactics, then they can't attack your king, or they can't like set up a strategy to attack your king. And so that's like a very important thing. And it's basically you're getting them on the run. You know what I mean? You're moving pieces to places where they can take more valuable pieces. And then it's like, fuck, dude, I don't want it. I don't want them to take that piece. So I'm gonna move this piece over here. And it just like it fucks up their brain and it like causes them to like be chaotic and shit. So they can't set up strategies to like attack you. And that happens to me. I'd say every single game of chess, at least in one point. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can wiggle out of it if you're playing someone on your level, but most of the time they just like fuck shit up. If you're playing anyone that knows what they're doing in chess, they fuck you up. And next, so another strategy that's like incorporated into these strategies is you use like less valuable pieces to defend more valuable pieces, which seems obvious, but there's always that temptation that's there to like move the less valuable pieces because you're like, dude, if I can do this and do that, I can get him. I know it, but you can't get him. All right, trust me, you never get him. You always think you can do it. You always think you can, but you just never get it. And that's what's so frustrating about chess, where it's like, dude, why are you doing that? Why are you trying against me? Fuck you, dude. I'm supposed to win. So while defending, make sure guard pieces are in a position where if they're taken by another piece, by like an opponent's piece, the piece being guarded can take the attacking piece. So you know what I mean? Like if you got your queen or whatever like surrounded by all pawns, if like a rook takes it, make sure your queen is like right in the middle of the pawns so it can take that rook. You know what I mean? I don't even know what I mean when I'm saying that. But fuck it, we ball. And so overall, it is important to set up long-term plans, but not be too distracted by those long-term plans to be able to do quick maneuvers. You know what I mean? It's like, don't ignore what's right in front of you, because like that can fuck you up. Even if you lose just one piece, it can like fuck your whole long-term strategy up. So like, don't be too focused on the long-term strategy. Like, be ready to get active. You know what I mean? And so, or you can do the Jimmy plan, which is, this is my personal plan, where you just you get all the fucking pawns and shit out of the way. You're like, fuck it, take as many as you want, and you just go hog wild with the queen, dude. Immediately lose the queen, you know what I mean? Take like a one pawn with the queen and immediately lose it and be like, worth it, I did it, I took a piece. That is how I play chess. I'm just like, dude, whoever has the most pieces, that's who's winning. And that can be true, but if you're only taking pawns, you're not gonna win. And there's also this shit where it's like in the late game, like pawns are more valuable than knights. I don't know how it works. Goddamn, dude, I'm going through this episode quick. But anyway, we're on to the GOAT debate. Who is the GOAT of chess? So the debate is pretty much between Bobby Fischer and Magnus Carlsen. And so, dude, if look up Magnus Carlsen, dude, this dude has a wild face. So Magnus is to Jesse Plemons, who is like Meth Damon. He was the dude in fucking, what's that movie called, Civil War, where he's like, what kind of American are you? That guy. He looks like that guy, how like that guy kind of looks like Matt Damon. This dude is like, you know what I mean? Jesse Plemons is to Matt Damon what Magnus Carlsen is to Jesse Plemons. You know what I mean? He looks like a doubly retarded Matt Damon. He looks like he's full pug face, dude. Like the front of his face. His head is crazy, dude. His head is like a perfect rectangle. You know, the back is completely flat and the front's completely fat. He's got a wild face. And so he kind of looks like Dudley Dursley, who's in the Queen's Gambit, that show about chess. And I don't think he's a main character in it. The dude whose eyes are super close together. He looks like that guy. He looks like if you've seen the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, it's played by the same guy. The Nugget who tells stories, dude. You know what I mean? who tells fables and shit. And I was thinking about that too, dude. If you ever want to know, people are like, this is what medieval TikTok would have looked like. Just go to like Chinese TikTok, dude. They're always like telling fables about blind dudes and shit like that. They're always like selling their wares and telling fables, dude. It's fun as fuck over there. Yeah, and so Magnus Carlsen looks like the Nug from Ballad of Buster Scruggs. And so all right, here's Magnus Carlsen's argument for being the GOAT. So Magnus Carlsen, he was born in 1990, and he was like a chess prodigy and shit like that. He held the chess world title from 2013 to 2023, but I kind of realized that's bullshit because you can like choose. It's like a boxing or like a UFC title, or like it's not like the Super Bowl where it's like you're forced to play. You can kind of choose what you want to do with it. You can kind of choose who you want to play. Like you don't have to fight the number one contender. So it's not like the NFL or the NBA where it's like the best of the best versus the best of the best. Or like the best that season. And so he never lost the title, but he did forfeit it. And he did kind of like pussy out. You know what I mean? Where it's like he was like, I'm just focusing on my personal life and shit. Like chess isn't even really a challenge for it. And it's like, dude, if it's not a challenge, just fucking play the best dude. So he did kind of pussy out of it, but fuck it. And so he also has the highest like ELO, which I guess is like the official chess rating system of all time with 2,882. And so he just got married. Congratulations. And in September of 2022, he accused a man of using vibrating anal beads to cheat in a chess game in St. Louis. So the guy didn't cheat in that game, but did cheat in 55 online matches. And he did win a little bit of money, but it's kind of like, who cares? But it's just so funny to be like, are you using those anal beads to cheat? And it's like, no, I'm just getting off. I'm just getting off during this game. But it's like that also. I think that has like the reverse effect. Like if you're playing a dude in chess and you see a little, you know what I mean, like a little butt plug sticking out, like you can see like the imprint of it through his pants and shit like that. You might be like, I'm gonna whoop this dude's ass because he's like preoccupied with crumbing, or maybe like the edging of it all. You know what I mean? Like his girlfriend's controlling like the remote vibrator. Maybe like the edging of it all, like makes him so frustrated where he's like, I gotta finish this fucking game so I can go into this bathroom in this convention center and just jizz all over the walls. Maybe it's like that type of shit. But I don't think it would. I don't think it would work on me at least. I just crumb and maybe the butt plug of it doesn't make you crumb. Maybe he's not even into butt play. Maybe it's just like the pure frustration of it is like what drives him to be great. I don't know. I might do that. I might go into my next test with a vibrating butt plug, see what happens. I don't know. It could be the strategy. You never know. And so this dude, I was rating his Wikipedia page to find funny shit, and like the funniest thing in there is I don't think anything's funnier than accusing someone of cheating for using a vibrating butt plug. You know what I mean? And it's like I have to imagine it's like the police and shit where it's like we can't change the crime scene or anything, and they pull the butt plug out, and it's just covered in shit. And just a bunch of chess nerds are like standing around this shit covered butt plug, being like, "What was the strategy, dude? What was he doing with this?" They're like sniffing it and shit. Is he on PEDs? Is he using PEDs to cheat in chess? What's going on with this guy? He's definitely using the Joe Rogan fucking alpha brain. That's a banned substance. I can smell it in his shit on this butt plug. I don't know. Or it's like they took him backstage, you know what I mean? They took him into like the blue tent of the NFL games, and they're like, spread him, dude. You know what's happening here. Spread him. And they were like looking at the butt plug, and he's like, dude, I was just trying to come. I wasn't cheating. I was just trying to come during the chess match. I knew the stink of the cum would intimidate Magnus, dude. I knew Magnus would smell that shit and know a real alpha man was here. So that is funny as hell. But Magnus Carlsen, sorry, my throat was getting a little dry. I didn't want to RFK out there when I was talking about Magnus. So if you read this dude's Wikipedia, he's kind of a fucking narcissist, dude. Like I was saying, he has like a pug head. He has like a nice fucking I'd say like a 2x3 Lego brick type of head, or maybe 2x4. You know what I mean? He's got a crazy, you know what I mean? And he like modeled in magazines and shit, and it's like, dude, what are you doing? You're an ugly ass, nerdy ass chess player, dude. That's not where you belong. Stay in chess. He does have like a betting company, or like he signed up with a betting company or something. Um, which I did. Yeah, that's just a classic grift. You can't blame him for that one, dude. All the online influencers are always doing that, dude. Just being like, I promise you, you can get rich sports betting. And it's like the whole point of sports betting is like that you can't get rich doing it. Like that's like a thing. I don't know if you guys know this. If anyone ever tells you like, dude, I'm so good at sports betting, that's a lie. Because if you get really good, then the company like bans you from being able to bet more than like $2 or whatever. So if you have like the science of it down, you can't do it. Uh and so the other dude we have, the other potential goat we got going on is Bobby Fischer. And so Bobby Fischer held the chess world title from 1972 until 1975. And this dude, usually it's like you look at like the older players and you're like, dude, they weren't playing anyone who was that good. Like that's like the argument against Michael Jordan or whatever being the GOAT, or like Bill Russell, where you're like, he was playing against like firefighters and shit. That's not the case for Bobby, dude. Bobby was playing against like dudes who were like born and just immediately put in front of a chessboard. He was playing like the USSR and like the communist socialist nations during the Cold War. And so these dudes were literally spending all day just playing chess. And that's what a lot of these people do anyway, but this was like they had this shit down. They definitely had some Nazis teaching these dudes chess. And it's like, how come the Nazis are so much better at it than everyone else? You know what I mean? It's like we couldn't get like an American to figure out how to send a rocket to the moon. I feel like that's a pretty, you know what I mean? Just put as much shit as you can in there and blast it, dude. Doesn't matter if they fucking live up there. Or it doesn't matter if they die up there. We got to the fucking moon. We put men on the moon. We put lifeless corpses on the moon. That does sound like a USSR plane. To be like, fucking, we won. Technically, we won. We do have a man on the moon. He's just floating around up there, like neck snapped, head blown up, but fucking he's up there. You know what I mean? He's on that shit. And so, yeah, he was playing like these crazy high level USSR guys. And so his highest ELO rating was 2785. And I don't know if the way they rate it has been consistent for all these years. So it might be like a thing where it's like technically it's like completely different. Like if you judged him by the modern scale, then it would be higher. I don't know. That could be completely made up. And so Fischer created a timing system called Fischer time that is still used today. And it's like I don't know. They were saying it's like an increment timing where it's like after every move, you get like an extra minute or something instead of just like a running clock. You know what I mean? And so Fischer wrote a book. It's called like My 60 Best Chess Matches. And he wrote about like how he played the games and shit like that. And that's considered like an essential piece of chess literature where if you want to get really good at chess, you read that thing. And he also created a thing called Chess 960, which is used. There's like competitive Chess 960 tournaments, but it's also like a practice thing where the pieces on the chessboard are just completely randomized. And it's called 960 because I guess there's like 960 possible places where every piece can go or something. No. There's 960 like total combinations for like the different places that the pieces can be, if you know what I mean. So it's like the pieces are just completely randomized and you go from there. And I think it was saying like Magnus Carlsen competed in a lot of those tournaments. So he's influential as hell. And so Bobby Fischer single-handedly won the chess aspect of the communist versus capitalist culture war. Like I was saying, he was playing these dudes that were just from birth, all they did all day was play chess. And so that's also kind of what Fischer was, where it's like a lot of these people, like they're like 8 years old or they're in like kindergarten or whatever, and like they play like a game of chess. And like somehow, like these high-level chess people can be like, that dude knows what's up, get him over here. And yeah, they definitely weren't like that with me, dude. They saw me getting all the pawns out of the way and getting the queen in there, and they were like, this dude has no idea what he's doing. Would be funny to shake up the chess world like that. I wonder if there's like, if you can be so retarded at chess that you fuck the whole thing up. You just completely throw a wrench in the plans. Like, I know that's a thing with like some kind of like card gamblings and shit like that, with like poker and like blackjack, where you just, if you completely fuck it up, then you can like somehow win. I don't think chess is like that, though. It's just too long and drawn out. Maybe speed chess. You can do that in speed chess, just like randomly move pieces and win, but I have no idea. All right. And so Fischer was anti-Semitic and often denied the Holocaust. Case closed. We know who the GOAT is. But people do say he like went insane because he played so much blindfolded chess. And that's exactly what it sounds like. You put on a blindfold and he was playing like 4 or 5 people and you just imagine the chessboard in your head, which I guess makes sense because it's kind of like the Tetris thing where like if you play Tetris so long, you start like even if you're not playing Tetris, you can like see like the blocks falling and shit like that. So I have to imagine that's what that's like. Where if you just play blindfolded chess for so long and you're imagining all these different chessboards all the time, then like you just start seeing chess everywhere, dude. He's like, I know. That's what was going on, dude. He's like, I know who the white players are, dude. I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking with the Holocaust. And it's funny because he was Jewish. So, I mean, they're allowed to say it, but I'm not. But that's all I've got for this episode. Damn, we're only at 35 minutes. All right, I'm gonna talk about some of the thoughts I've had this week. One of the thoughts I did have this week is, dude, chicks fucking love gadgets, dude. They've always got some kind of go-go gadget on them. You know what I mean? They've always got some shit that you're like, well, what does that do? And if you look at it and you're like, well, what does that do? But like what it looks like gives no possible indication to what it does. And I was thinking like, why do chicks have so many gadgets? I feel like gadgets are more of a dude thing. Same with chess. Chess is more of a dude thing. I don't know why. I think if you took chess and you like made it like their friends or something, you were like, you have to defeat your friend in order to win. And you were like, just imagine the enemy's your friend. Chicks would be the best chess players on earth because they love nothing more than just fucking destroying their friends, just like mentally. It's their favorite thing on earth. And I was thinking that's also why they have so many gadgets. You know what I mean? They're like, fuck it. I got to get this done as quick as possible, so I need this gadget so I can go argue with my friends all the time. So I can go practice mental warfare on the people I care about most in this world. I was thinking that's why chicks have so many fucking gadgets. But goddamn, dude, that's all I've got for this episode. Chicks love gadgets. Anti-Semitism is not that bad. I mean, if he's the best chess player, he knows something. He knows something. But damn, that's all I've got for this episode, dude. I don't know. I just blew through it too quick. Next week's episode, I'm going to do another survival guide. I'm going to do like a horror movie survival guide where I like talk about the plot of the horror movie and then I'm like, I'll do how to survive it. But yeah, that's all I've got for this week. This episode wasn't that great. But yeah, just got to keep on working, keep on getting it. Got to do that all the time. But anyway, I'll see you on Wednesday or Sunday or never again. I don't know. But I hope you have a good day, good week, good semester, good whatever you're doing. And I'll, see you guys then. All right, peace.